What would you do if you just ended an abusive relationship? Would you throw yourself into work, find a new hobby, maybe head to Europe for some me time? Don't be silly. You're going to do what any sane, rational, recently traumatized person would do. You're going to grab your new boyfriend, who none of your friends or family have met yet. You're going to drive a few hours to a remote cabin in the woods and just turn your phone off and hang out for the weekend, right? I mean, what other options are there for a second date? Mini golf? Moving too fast. There's no way lightning strikes twice. There's no possible way that there are two men out there who are unstable and emotionally manipulative, right? Well, guess what? Art gallery operator Meredith Tanning obviously hasn't watched a single fucking Netflix documentary, because that is exactly her thinking in the 2022 Shudder original A Wounded Fawn. Like a colourblind bull, Meredith just sprints past red flag after red flag with a speed that would make a Toretto jealous. Literally the first scene, they were in the car heading to the cabin, I thought, oh, homie, you are so dead. There's no way you're getting out of this. You are so dead. That being said, I did give her a little bit of a pass because her serial killing squeeze, Bruce, is played by the lovable looking Josh Rubin from College Humor. But come on, Meredith. Stevie Wonder could have seen this one coming. Unsurprisingly, when they get to the cabin and start settling in for the weekend, Meredith starts finding clue after clue that Bruce is off. For a while here, I actually thought, oh, this is just going to be dinner party horror. And I love dinner party horror. Like, I was ready. I put my bib on, grabbed a glass of champagne. I Googled which knife and fork should go in which order. I was ready. I was ready for some tense, slow burn conversating. And then the writers Travis Stevens and Nathan Faudree said lol and just coward punched me with a psychedelic romp through the woods, Greek mythology, and like the deepest inner workings of man. Not cool, you guys. If you look at this film online, review-wise, it seems to be pretty decisive. Lots of people seem to love it. Lots of people seem to hate it. I get both sides of the argument. This film relies heavily on symbolism. It's very artsy, not just in execution, but also in subject matter. They're both artists or art gallery workers. It pretty much beats you over the head with high art. That's a little spoiler for later. And it can be a bit wanky. Like, there are a number of scenes where I pictured the writers, after they just put it to paper, just sitting back and thinking, fuck, I'm clever. It also stylistically is an interesting choice because it takes its style from old giallo films. If you don't know what a giallo is, take 70s Italian soap opera, trench coat slasher film, mix them together and giallo. So if that's not really your thing, you're going to struggle here. That being said, the cinematography is spot on. There's a few really effective jump scares, and the score is really, really good. There's a scene where Meredith is just moseying around the cabin, bopping along to 70s rock, and I was just, that scene completely, I was in on that scene. I was just, vibing around, and then I was like, oh yeah, Meredith, your boyfriend's a fucking serial killer. Get out of the house. There are also some scenes that just did not work for me in this. Particularly, there's a scene with a sheet and a projectionist, and another one with a weird fireplace that I think they were supposed to be scary, but they just come off as janky compared to the other parts of the film. And that they pissed me off, those two scenes, to be honest. That being said, Sarah Lind, who plays Meredith, and Josh Rubin, who plays Bruce, fantastic in this. Josh Rubin in particular, he just oozes weird Son of Sam energy. He's super menacing and strong in one scene, and then he's weirdly weak and childlike in the next. And I think his performance is probably brings a lot of the tension that the film seems to have. This, all in all, this movie's good but not great. It does do a few really, really awesome things though. One, there is mask design in this that would give Corey Taylor a raging hard on. And as a Slipknot fan, I love a good mask. Two, there's a really cool weapon in this. It's like if the Aztecs made brass knuckles and then stuck knives to it. I'm a simple man. I like cool weapons. I thought that shit was sick. Um, and three, and this is going to sound like an insult, but I promise you it's not. The best part of this film is the end credits. It has about 5 minutes of the most uncomfortable and graphic end credits I've ever seen in a horror movie. Like, it starts off funny and then just keeps going and going and going until you're just like sitting there in silence wondering how you got so fucked up that you thought the first 2 minutes were funny. It really makes you look in the mirror a bit, and I think all good horror does that. But seriously, what are you, a sicko watching this film? Come on, man. Who is this for? I recommend watching this if you like artsy horror, dare I say, elevated horror. Saint Maud, Midsummer, Black Swan. If you love a good revenge story, this is a pretty good one. If you like visiting art galleries, sipping martinis, staring at variously coloured splotches on canvas that cost more than the average person's house, you're probably going to like the art in this. I don't recommend watching this if you want a scary film. This isn't that scary. It's more psychedelic. If you hate giallos or elevated horror, stay away from this. If you don't like ambiguous horrors, I get it. Sometimes you just want milk that tastes like real milk. This is not one of those. This is lots of symbolism in this movie. Also, don't watch this if you don't want to see Josh Rubin jerk off into a kitchen sink. That's how you know for sure he's a bad guy. The serial killing, I can get past, but we prepare food here, you absolute grub. Get out of the kitchen. But all in all, it's a solid psychological thriller. I don't think it deserves like some of the more brutal reviews it gets. I think it's a pretty interesting film. I think there's a lot to like in it. But yeah, let me know what you think about it if you've seen it. And hopefully I'll see you next week for more horror reviews. Peace.